Hello, Wallstreetosmium. Before we get started, I'd like to do a bit about the thermal conductivity of osmium. We all know osmium as a metal of extremes. Okay, it is the densest element. It has one of the highest melting points. It is one of the most inert, least chemically reactive metals, and it is also the bluest metal. It's also one of the hardest metals, and it is also one of the most brittle metals. So it really is just almost all around extreme. Oh, and its most common oxide is the most toxic metal oxide as well. Of course, it could butt heads a bit with some of thallium's compounds, but But there is an aspect of osmium that is rather modest, and that is its thermal conductivity. Okay, so here is a chart, a periodic table showing the thermal conductivities of all the elements. Now, as you can see right here, osmium's is 88, I don't know what that unit is, watts per mk something, whatever. We're just refer to it as in numbers, 88. The highest is silver, 430. The lowest, I believe, is Neptunium. Neptunium at 6. I believe plutonium is also at 6. So yeah, Neptunium and plutonium are both 6. Now, it's funny because in terms of thermal conductivity, osmium is almost exactly average. In fact, I took one evening recently and I added up the thermal conductivities of all the first 83 elements. I added all of them up with a calculator, then divided by 83, and the exact average of all these thermal conductivities is 62, which means that germanium is almost exactly average in terms of thermal conductivity, and osmium is just slightly more than average. Not much. It's almost the same as iron. Now, you may remember way back about a year ago when Historical Marine 45 tested his 1 gram osmium bead in Aqua Regia for 20 minutes. And it lost 0.4 milligrams of mass. Now that's ridiculously slow. Well, as the title suggests, I stuck my osmium bead fragment in Aqua Regia for 9 hours. And now this was broken up into 2 increments. The first was 3.5 hours one night, and then 5.5 hours tonight. The first night, the results were inconclusive because I was using whey paper, which is basically wax paper meant for using on scales. But it got all messed up because you have to tear out the weight of the whey paper, and then once you stick something on it, it moves the paper, and then it screws up the weight. So tonight I weighed my osmium bead again. So I weighed it 3 times just to get 3 different weights, and so it's coming out between 2.938 grams and 2.939 grams. So it's, in between those or something like that. So this is the part of the video where I'll show you incremental clips of the second phase where I put the bead in for 5.5 hours. Now, I think it's important to note the first night I did this, it was about 48 degrees outside, and when I did it tonight for 5.5 hours, it was about 42 degrees outside. So it's not exactly room temperature, but every time I went out there, I got a decent whiff of chlorine gas. So it's not like this stuff isn't working properly. Now, originally when Historical Marine did this test, he also posted it on the chemistry subreddit, and they said that the amount of mass loss that he recorded was within error measurement range. Now, I don't know about that zero point 0.4 milligrams of mass that he lost, but that was over the course of just 20 minutes. I just did it for 9 hours, albeit a bit colder than room temperature. It was a bit chilly outside, I'll admit, but that's no reason for Aqua Regia to suddenly stop working. And I think 9 hours is more than enough time to compensate for the lower temperature. And I just didn't get any difference in mass whatsoever. I mean, it's it's staggering. Okay, on to the next part of the video. Because I found myself with all the ingredients to make it, I thought I would try testing osmium in a mixture that Historical Marine 45 once tried, which I coined the Avengers mixture because, well, it consists of all the acids. At least all the main ones. As you can see here, the whole team's there. Hydrofluoric acid, hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, and nitric acid, all combined. Now, originally, when Historical Marine tested this mixture, it apparently dissolved 0.002 grams per minute, so about 2 milligrams per minute, depending on the HF concentration. Now, I have to say, the test didn't go right. And I wasn't able to create the mixture properly because I got too scared. So I wasn't able to add enough of each acid because at a certain point my brain was telling me, stop, this is getting too dangerous. Historical Marine 45, he can do it no problem because he works in a lab, in a glove box with a sash between him and whatever's inside of the glove box. And it's got a fume hood and everything, and it's pretty much no problem for him. But for me, well, when there's too much chlorine gas being formed and my eyes start burning slightly, I have to retreat. I have to get away. And I did treat my left eye with a wet cloth. There was no severe burning. It was just a tiny, itty-bitty little bit of burning, but I still went ahead and treated my eye with a wet cloth just to make sure. So that's basically what happens when you don't have quite enough eye protection, I guess. Okay, there is a bit of a crack in the osmium test bead. You can probably see it. It's right there, going down along the bottom, a little bit zigzagging down there. I've been applying. I've just been because I've seen it lately, and I've been kind of just fiddling with this a lot lately, and I've just been kind of wondering if it's still sound. I've been pushing on it like this a lot just to test to see if it's still intact. And I just noticed lately that crack widens when I apply pressure to it like that. So I'm wondering, oh, I can feel something. I think it's getting ready to break finally. Or if I can split it with my hands. Okay, I have managed to successfully split the bead with my fingers. I guess that crack has been growing in there for a while, and it's been growing and growing, and eventually just needed to be split. So I will have to reweigh this bead on the scale before testing with it again.
Yikes. Jesus Christ. This is the shit he works with? Okay, it's in there, but I don't think it's reacting. It's just a lot of decomposing shit in there. That is not a very friendly looking mixture, I have to say. I don't even know if I want to add the HF, honestly. Oh fuck, something just burned in my eyes. Okay. Nope. Nope. I think I'll only add just a capful of the HF to that mixture. Alright, see what happens. We'll be ready to run. Okay. That's enough, I think. Oh, it stopped bubbling. What the hell? Nothing's happening.